Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We're having a beautiful day today, and I thought I'd give you guys a little peek at what's going on in our little garden here. We're about 2/3 the way through the growing season here, and it's starting to do a little bit of here and there. We had such a really slow start to the season with cold temperatures and everything that it took a long time for things to get going. And I've kind of heard similar comments from around the area and stuff that we had a lot of stuff that just wasn't growing very well. But anyways, as you can see, we do have the tomatoes over there seem to be coming around quite nicely. And of course our row of potatoes, Idaho, they do grow good, so they're growing pretty good. You know, the lettuce has been doing pretty good too. We've actually harvested the lettuce one time, and it's coming back for the second time, which it looks like it's just about ready to be harvested again, so that's good. And over here to the left, we have a little row of carrots, and they haven't been doing that great, you know, but they've come around here recently and started really growing, so we're kind of hopeful that this last month or a month and a half maybe that they'll finish out. Now in this row here are beans. They started out pretty nice, like they came in quick, but then they didn't do nothing. They just sat there and they got stifled for some reason, and then just didn't do anything for the longest time. And then all of a sudden here a week ago they started growing again, so I don't know what the story is with that. But and we had some peas growing up this way, but they died for some reason. And you know, we just had some struggles early on, like I said, getting things going. We do have a couple pepper plants over here that have produced a few peppers here and there, but nothing extravagant. Well, let's take a walk down here and go in and take a closer look. Okay, here we go. So here we got our potatoes, and they're growing quite nicely. They've started putting some blossoms on. Now we have 3 different kinds of potatoes here. I think we got some reds, some russets, and I can't remember the third one, maybe yellow potatoes, golden potatoes. Anyhow, so they're coming along quite nicely. Feeling pretty happy about that. Everything doing well there. As you can see, our lettuce is doing pretty good. And it's definitely ready for another harvest. Oh yeah, boy, it's really taken off the last few days. Now, one of the bright spots for us in our garden this year has been the tomatoes, and for some reason they've been the definitely the most prolific. This is a cherry tomato, and it's just really, I mean, there's got little tomatoes everywhere in there. It's just really been doing well, so pretty pleased about that. Most of these up here are doing well. This little plant here is kind of taking a nosedive. I don't know what's going on with that, but the rest of them are doing okay. So I'm not a big tomato guy myself. However, I do like, obviously, canned tomatoes and making things out of that, some sauces and whatnot. But my wife really likes tomatoes, and my mom likes tomatoes, and a few other people we know likes tomatoes. So it looks like they're gonna get some, which is kind of neat. And of course we were hoping to get a little bit more peppers. That one's not looking real good, but we were hoping to get a little bit more peppers and some onions and make some salsa. I don't know if that's looked like it's going to happen. Here's some carrot. You know, I think these carrots are probably going to do something. They're kind of few and far between. Another thing I don't understand. But as you can see, they're finally coming up. I think we'll get some carrots before it's over, if the weather holds out. I'll take a peek over here. We got some kind of cayenne pepper there, I believe. Yeah, and for some reason they turned yellow on that plant. We got some red ones coming in there. Now here's a little bit of a disappointment for me. Like I said about the beans earlier, I've always liked beans, and they just have been stifled. Like I said, they started growing here recently. I just don't know if they're gonna pull it off. We just have to wait and see what happens this next month. Oh, here's something funny. In the little bean row, we got some runaway lettuce. And look at that. What do we got there? Got something else going on there. Huh. Anyways, we got some rogue lettuce there. Must have got blown around in the wind, which we have plenty of wind. So this is the squash end. Happens to be one of my favorite vegetables, and I was really hoping for a good harvest and turnout here. And I mean, it just was so slow. I think I mentioned it, you know, maybe in late June or July sometime, that it just, things weren't going well. It was really slow going, and you can see, I mean, this one here, I mean, they've been planted for quite a while, you know, 2 months, 2.5 months, and then just weren't doing nothing. And finally in July, it started doing something, albeit slowly. Let me walk over here a little closer. But we got some stuff going on finally, and you know, here in the last couple weeks, they've really started picking up and taking off. So again, you know, we have a little bit of hope that we might actually get something out of it. So yeah, they've been taking off pretty good. Here we got a blue Hubbard. And finally, let me squat down in here and take a peek. If you can see that or not. We got one going there. And we got a little one going in there. So we got a couple of those going on. And over here on this one, oh, we got a couple going on here too. It's just been taking forever, guys. I don't know about in your neck of the woods, if you guys had some growing problems this year. But it took forever for this stuff to get going. I guess we just didn't have the right temperatures early on. But as you can see, finally taken off. I think we should be a little bit ahead of this by now, but it just isn't. And over here we have one of our zucchini plants, and as you can see, it's not the biggest plant in the world, but we finally have a zucchini there. And it looks like it's a day or two past being harvested. It's a good, I don't know, 9-10 inch zucchini. So we'll probably come back and get that. And that'll be our second zucchini. The first one was smaller, and it actually didn't develop all the way. We ended up giving it to the pigs. So, and here we have, I think it's a little spaghetti squash plant, if I'm right. There's no tag here. This poor little plant, because of our wind situation, this thing got beat around so bad it was flipped upside down and spun around, and we didn't even know if it was going to survive. And I think I ended up putting a little staple over it. Let's see if I still have it in here. I don't know if you can see that. It's hard to see. Yeah, right down there. We'll staple in there. And after we did that, boy, it started coming back to life, and you can see this little thing has a couple little squashes coming on. So that's pretty neat. Then our poor butternut squash plants, I mean, they've tried. They just haven't got anything going yet. This one here took off and started growing about 2 inches every day there for a while, and then just quit. So maybe we need to put some more fertilizer on that. Another little spaghetti squash plant as well. Right over here Another zucchini. So as you can see, so we got a couple zucchinis coming on this one. Yeah, so you can see we got another squash coming on this little thing. So the plants themselves haven't really grown that much, but they're starting to put some squash on. Somewhat of a disappointment early on in the year, and I was feeling quite discouraged about it. However, the last few weeks has got me hopeful. Here's another zucchini, and I'd say that zucchini right there looks like it could be picked too, huh? Yeah. Maybe we'll come back and pick that. We've got another one started here. So that's good. You know how zucchinis are. Seems like once they start putting them on, they come on quick. So hopefully we'll get something going on these little plants. Well, with all my aspirations, in my mind when I did this, I was picturing this whole area was just going to be covered in, you know, squash plants. Like it was going to take off and just take over this whole area right here. And I think that normally it might have. Unfortunately, it hasn't panned out that way. It still might fill in quite a bit with this time we have left. Now that they're growing, I just don't think it's going to reach my ideal. And maybe that's my wishful thinking and my noviceness of the whole thing. However, it's kind of gone from what I considered could have been a failure. I was thinking maybe we were headed for a failure, and it's kicked up a notch, and I think that, you know, it's going to be worth something. However, still kind of sparse. It's been a rough year. Another interesting thing is my little watermelon plants that were doing absolutely nothing all year. And I mean, they just set the same size for 2 months. This last 2 weeks, they started to grow. Now I'm pretty sure that that's not going to leave me enough time to have a watermelon. But I mean, that's kind of cool they started to grow. They didn't do anything. I mean, I wish I should have took some video of it before. It just sat there about that big maybe for almost 2 months doing nothing, and all of a sudden it takes off. So anybody can tell me why that is? I have no idea. Our last little item, this is where our cucumbers are, and you can see we got, I think, just 2 starting to come in, and they're just now starting to come in. So hopefully we might have some, and these are pickling cucumbers, so you know, 55 to 65 days, I guess, maybe, for some pickling cucumbers. Hopefully we'll get some. My hopes are limited though, so I'm not going to be too hopeful for that, but it'd be nice if it did. So there we go. That's about 2/3 of the way through the season on our garden, and we have some bright spots, some things going well, and some things not going very well. But I get the feeling from everybody else that they're having similar situations, maybe not quite as bad as me on some stuff. And that might have to do with our noviceness. Like we haven't done gardens in quite a few years. So getting back into it, maybe we've made a few mistakes along the way. But other than that, I think that we're having a similar season to a lot of other people. And but it's coming around, so we're hopeful. We're going to get some stuff out of it. Maybe we're not going to fill our pantry all the way up, but we'll get a few jars of stuff in there anyhow. So there it is. Thanks for coming along, guys. We will catch you back out here on another day. Have a good one. Take care.